This isn't a vacation, it's just our life this past week in Sicily. One moment we're eating pastries with 36 people, and the next we're playing cards in a beach town we've been wanting to visit. We didn't script any of it, but maybe that's what makes it real. Every day was different, every stop had a story, and somehow it all came together like a week we couldn't have planned if we tried.
No, I didn't know that.
Sì, 18 months old. Tu c'avevi capite, Croce. Tu c'avevi capite.
We were invited to Susan and Stephen's for lunch that Sunday, and I made a side dish of grilled zucchini from our garden with just fresh mint, salt, pepper, and olive oil. That morning, workers were coming to fix a broken pipe behind the cottage, and they were bringing jackhammers. So we left extra early to get out of the way and turned it into a full-day outing. But as we drove through Carini, we pulled up behind this vehicle with clothes hung around the entire outside. Not exactly your average fashion boutique. Our first stop was Capaci, where we paused for an espresso and cappuccino at Capaci Café. It was the perfect pick-me-up, rich, smooth, just what we needed. We lingered for a few minutes, listening to the morning chatter, and then we set off to explore the town. Just around the corner, we passed the big town fountain in the main square, a quiet church, and a butcher shop tucked along the side street. A few locals were resting on benches along the wide pedestrian walkway. Then, out of nowhere, a group of cyclists sped by like there was some kind of race happening. And not long after, we came across an old stone fountain, the kind used for drinking water centuries ago. I gave the handle a turn, and sure enough, it still works. Just as we were about to turn back, we saw a man casually leading his sorrel horse down the street. And then a few steps later, we looked up and noticed the undercornices of an old building, stone lions and other carved creatures holding up a worn terrace. And then we spotted Longo Bakery. We hadn't planned to stop, but something about it pulled us in. We stepped inside and greeted the man at the counter, and it turns out that it was Mr. Longo himself, the fourth-generation baker in his family. His great-grandfather started the bakery across the street, but his current location has been here for many, many decades. He told us how he and his wife once made a 400-kilo Sicilian cassata, nearly 2 meters long. They donated the whole thing to the townspeople, paid for everything themselves, just to share it. The glass cases stretched across the room, filled with row after row of beautifully decorated pastries, traditional Sicilian sweets, crisp cookies, ricotta-filled cannoli, sponge cakes soaked in syrup, handmade candies, gelato, and miniature desserts too perfect to touch. Everything looked like it had been made with pride and displayed like it belonged in a gallery. We thanked Mr. Longo for the story and the tour, then made our way back to the car. Our next stop was the coastal town of Isola delle Femmine. We parked near the water, and Croce went off to find the nearest machine since the Easy Park app wasn't working for some reason. While he handled that, I crossed the street to take in the views. The sea stretched out in front of me with mountains rising in the distance, and I was definitely not disappointed. We decided to treat ourselves again, and why not? We stopped at Gran Café right along the main road in Isola. I had a delicious cappuccino while Croce just relaxed and took in the scene. I couldn't resist checking out the pastry case, and of course I asked permission before filming. The selection was stunning, bright colors, perfect shapes, everything arranged like artwork. Some of the pastries were very different from what we saw at Longo Bakery, but looked just as good. Croce has a serious sweet tooth, so I was honestly surprised he didn't get anything. It was time to head east towards Susan and Stephen's place, but we weren't in a rush. We enjoyed the scenery from the car as we followed the coastline. With over an hour to spare, we decided to make one more stop, Trabia. We'd never explored it before, and it felt like the right moment to finally check it out. As we drove along the highway, I had Croce pull over at a safe spot so I could take in the view. Oh my word, this might just be the most beautiful place I've seen in Sicily so far. My jaw dropped. I just stood there in silence. Time seemed to stand still as I looked out over the water. A little farther up the road, we stopped again so I could see it from another angle. The bay or cove, whatever it's called, looked like something from a postcard. And on the clear June day, I felt privileged just to witness it. It's one of those memories I'll be carrying with me for a long time. We had just enough time to make the drive to Susan and Stevens, following the GPS through the winding roads. As we pulled up, we spotted Joe and Diana arriving too, which brought a big smile to our faces. The moment we stepped inside, we were welcomed with such warmth and joy, it truly felt like one big happy family. Many of the guests had already gathered, and we made our way around the room, greeting everyone with a smile, introducing ourselves, and saying how nice it was to meet them. We made our way up to the rooftop veranda, and I paused to take in the breathtaking panoramic views. Their beautiful villa is perfectly perched to soak in both the majestic Sicilian mountains and the sparkling Tyrrhenian Sea. Even though there was a light haze in the distance, it didn't take away from the beauty. If anything, it added a dreamlike softness to the landscape. The whole scene felt peaceful and expansive, like a quiet moment suspended above the world. We enjoyed a delicious lunch filled with laughter and good conversation. When dessert came out, the table was overflowing with beautiful treats. It truly pulled out all the stops and was nothing short of amazing. It was such a treat to see Bree and Nino there, and we genuinely enjoyed the time spent with everyone. As the afternoon came to a close, it was time to make our way back to Carini, our bellies full, our minds refreshed, and our hearts full of joy. Midweek, we went to dinner with our neighbor Giovanni and friend Vita. He's 83 and full of stories about working in New York and Switzerland, painting houses, and why he never really stopped loving Carini. He's been back a while now, and when he talks about Sicily, it's not nostalgia, it's peace. Tell me about your place in Sicily. How long have you had your house in Sicily?
Carini, I have 2 houses.
Oh.
2 houses where I live and in Campania, what they call it.
Oh, a country house.
Country house, yeah.
When do you go to the country house?
We go every year, almost 3 months, 4 months.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
We spent several unhurried hours with them, enjoying every moment. And as we made our way back home, we felt a renewed sense of appreciation for friendships, for simple pleasures, and for this special season of life in Sicily. Friday afternoon, we reunited with Rosario and Giovanna. They were born in Carini but raised their family in Philadelphia. Now, their grandkids speak a mix of Italian and English, and being with them felt like no time had passed.
2 days ago, and he told the guy short, they were talking, and he didn't watch what he was doing. He should have left this much on top.
That same evening, we drove to Balestrate to visit Joe and Diana. You might remember them from a past video. They bought their place and had it renovated. It was beautiful. We played cards and laughed like old friends, and then wandered through the streets of their new town. We spent time catching up on the events of the week, sharing stories, and even practicing a bit of Italian together, which always brings a few laughs. Later, we headed to Terra Mia for a scrumptious dinner. The food never disappoints, and here's a peek at Joe's Pizza. It looked and smelled incredible. After dinner, we wandered through the lively town square, which was full of energy. Families gathered to chat, kids zipped by on bikes and scooters, and the outdoor cafes were filled with people enjoying a warm evening meal. It was one of those simple, joyful nights that stays with you. We didn't film any of this to make a point. It was just a week that reminded us why Sicily feels so alive. Not because every day is perfect, but because life here draws you into the moment. And this week, we were fully present to take it in. We've put together a free guide, Top 5 Mistakes People Make When Moving to Sicily. We made a few mistakes early on and we want to help you avoid them. So in this short practical guide, we walk you through the top 5 things people get wrong and what to do instead.